Welcome to Alpha Traveler. My name is Mazen Al-Angary, and today I'll be taking you to three great places. We'll start our journey today by visiting the spa town of Karlovy Vary. Then we'll head north to pass by Dresden, a city that was rebuilt after being totally destroyed in World War II. After that, we will turn around and head south again to end today's trip by visiting Kutná Hora, a town that houses a very strange church that is decorated using human bones. Karlovy Vary, or as known as Carlsbad, is a spa town situated in western Bohemia, Czech Republic. That's approximately 130 kilometers or 81 miles west of Prague. It is named after the King of Bohemia and Holy Roman Emperor Charles IV, since legend has it, back in 1350, during his stay in Loket, the king organized an expedition into the surrounding forest, where he established a spa called Hot Spas at Loket. After he had acclaimed the healing power of the hot springs, the place was subsequently renamed after him. Due to publications by doctors such as David Becher and Joseph von Löschner, the city developed into a famous spa resort and was visited by many members of European aristocracy. It became more popular after the railway lines were completed in 1870. Karlovy Vary, or Carlsbad, is famous for its 15 main hot springs plus 300 other smaller springs and the warm waters of Tepla River. It is the most visited spa town in the Czech Republic. In the 19th century, it became a popular tourist attraction, especially known for international celebrities visiting for spa treatment. The city is also known for Karlovy Vary International Film Festival, which is one of the oldest in the world and has become one of Europe's major film events. The city has been used as a location for a number of film shots, including Last Holiday and James Bond's Casino Royale, both of which used the city's Grand Hotel Poop. Now, what makes this place special is, of course, the water springs and their healing powers. Before we start, I would like to mention that there is a certain way of consuming spring water, by having short sips of them or using these ceramic special cups that you could find sold all around the town. And while you're trying all the springs, keep a lookout for the numbers you will find close to every spring, since this marks it and labels it for you. As I mentioned, there are almost 15 large springs in this small town. One of them is known as Mill Spring. This is one of the oldest springs in the town and was one of the first to be recommended for drinking cures back in 1705. The hot spring colonnade, with water temperatures reaching 72 Celsius, that's about 162 Fahrenheit. Since this spring is the only one used today for bathing and, of course, drinking. It could be too hot for some patients, and that's why it's cooled down into a couple of spring bowls. Because of the water pressure, the water could gush up to 12 meters. Stone-crusted objects show us how powerful nature is. This phenomenon is only present in one spot on Earth, right here at Carlsbad. Or at least, that's what the marketing material they gave me said. When the spring water raises to the surface of the Earth, with all the minerals, anything it touches would turn into stone within 14 days. While I was there, I heard a rumor that if you drink from all the springs, you would get cured from almost everything. And since they're all open to the public and free, why not? The glass manufacturer, Mosier, is located in Karlovy Vary. So before we leave this beautiful town, let's pay Mosier a visit to learn what makes it the King of Glass and Glass of Kings. Mosier is one of the 20th century most collected decorative glass and has been used everywhere from palaces to local restaurants since its beginning back in 1857. In 1904, Mosier received a warrant to supply the imperial court of the Emperor of Austria, and 4 years later became a supplier to Edward VII. The slogan King of Glass, Glass of Kings is associated with the company because of its famous clientele, who in addition to Edward VII and the Austrian imperial court, include people such as Pope Pius XI, the Turkish Sultan Abdulhamid II, the King Louis I of Portugal and his wife, Queen Elizabeth II, Juan Carlos, King of Spain, Danish royal family, Jordanian royal family, the Emperor of Japan. You get the picture, right? Ludwig Mosier developed a lead-free sodium-potassium glass that is more ecologically friendly than lead glass, yet is extremely hard. It remains the basis for their products. The factory museum shows the 150-year-old story of the company in more than 2,000 pieces on display, supplemented by documentaries and audio guides. Besides having 4 retail outlets in Czech Republic, 2 in Prague and another 2 in the company's hometown, Karlovy Vary, Mosier has a worldwide network of retailers. Karlovy Vary can be reached from other locations by intercity buses or by trains. The city is connected by expressway R6, and of course the international Karlovy Vary airport is located 4.5 kilometers southeast from the city. So let's hit the road and cross the borders to Germany. Don't worry, I'll return you back later for our final stop, but first let's head north to Dresden. Located close to the Czech Republic borders, this city has a long history as the capital and royal residence for the electors and kings of Saxony, who for centuries furnished the city with cultural and artistic splendors. The city was known as the Jewel Box. The controversial American-British bombing of Dresden in World War II towards the end of the war killed approximately 25,000, many of whom were civilians, and destroyed the entire city center. The bombing gutted the city, Dresden was attacked 7 times between 1944 and 1945 and was occupied by the Red Army after Germany surrendered. The completion of the reconstructed Dresden Frauenkirche in 2005 marked the first step in rebuilding the Neumarkt area. The area around the square has been divided in 8 quarters, the majority of buildings to be rebuilt either to the original structure or at least with a facade similar to the original. The Zwinger Palace is built in the Rococo style. It was built on the old stronghold of the city, and that is where the naming came from, since the word used to be a common medieval German term, which means a fortification between the outer and inner walls of a city. Today, the Zwinger Palace is a museum complex that contains the Old Master's picture galleries, the Dresden porcelain collection, and the Royal Cabinet of Mathematical and Physical Instruments. The United Nations Culture Organization UNESCO declared the Dresden Elbe Valley to be a World Heritage Site in 2004. Before and since Germany reunification in 1990, Dresden was and is a cultural, educational, political, economic center of Germany and Europe. The Dresden University of Technology is one of 10 largest universities in Germany and part of German Universities Excellence Initiative. Dresden hosts many research institutes, some of which have gained an international standing. The domains of most importance are micro and nanoelectronics, transportation and infrastructure systems, material and photonic technology, and bioengineering. The institutes are well connected among one another, as well as with the academic education institutes. Now let's cross back to the Czech Republic and to a very interesting place, to say the least, to a small town in the central Bohemian region, Kutná Hora. This town began back in 1142 with the settlement of the first Cistercian monastery in Bohemia, Sedlec Monastery. By 1260, German miners began to mine for silver in the mountain region, which they named Kuttenberg, and which was part of the monastery property. From the 13th to the 16th century, the city competed with Prague economically, culturally, politically, making it the second most important city in Bohemia after Prague, having become the favorite residence of several Bohemian kings. St. Barbara's Church is a Roman Catholic church in Kutná Hora in the style of a cathedral, and is sometimes referred to as the Cathedral of St. Barbara. It is one of the most famous Gothic churches in Central Europe, and it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
She became Christian. She discovered, because she had a lot of philosophers there to discuss.
St. Barbara is the patron saint of miners, among others, which was highly appreciated for a town whose wealth was based entirely upon its silver mines. Alright, so are you ready for the next part? Because this could get really weird. And if you're scared easily, I would recommend turning off this video or switching to another Alpha Traveler video or another channel before we head to Sedlec Ossuary. The Sedlec Ossuary is a small Roman Catholic chapel located beneath the cemetery church of All Saints. It is one of 12 World Heritage Sites in the Czech Republic. The ossuary is estimated to contain the skeletons of between 40,000 and 70,000 people, whose bones have in many cases been artistically arranged to form decorations and furnishing for the chapel. The ossuary is among the most visited tourist attractions of the Czech Republic, attracting over 200,000 visitors annually. If you ask me, this place is sick. And I don't mean that in a good way. Four enormous bell-shaped mounds occupy the corners of the chapel, an enormous chandelier of bones which contains at least one of every bone in the human body hangs from the center of the nave with garlands of skulls draping the vault. Other works include a coat of arms of the House of Schwarzenberg. So you might ask, how did this place come about and why? I have been asking myself this very same question. Turns out, in 1278, Henry the Abbot of the Cistercian monastery in Sedlec was sent to the Holy Land by King Ottokar II of Bohemia. He returned with him a small amount of earth he had removed from the Golgotha and sprinkled it over the abbey cemetery. The word of this soon spread, and the cemetery in Sedlec became a desirable burial site throughout Central Europe. Since the mid-14th century, during the Black Death, many thousands were buried in the abbey cemetery, so it had to be gradually enlarged. Around 1400s, a Gothic church was built in the center of the cemetery with a vaulted upper level and a lower chapel to be used as an ossuary. After 1511, the task of rearranging the skeletons and stacking their bones in the chapel was given to a half-blind monk. In 1870, František Rent, a woodcarver, was employed by the Schwarzenberg family to put the bone heaps in order, resulting in this horrifying scene you see today. This brings us to the end of today's trip. But as a parting note, what I really love about Europe is the rich and complex culture you see everywhere around you. This part of the world has a lot to offer when it comes to human culture and history that we should all preserve and learn from.